Have you ever looked everywhere? I mean, you lost your keys, you lost your favorite fishing lure, you lost the peanut butter and Ruffles and barbecue sauce sandwich you just made and you can't find it, anywhere. Does that sound gross? Peanut butter, Ruffles, and barbecue sauce. It's undoubtedly actor Jeff Daniels' favorite sandwich. When I was a kid, my favorite sandwich was mayonnaise and jelly. I think I've shared that with y'all before. Actually, correction, I forgot. I grew up in a Miracle Whip house, so unbeknownst to me, I was doing Miracle Whip and jelly, which that's really gross, Maybe you've got a gross sandwich. If so, I'd love to hear it after the service. Come share. It'd be great. Sometimes we look everywhere. You look here, you look there. Maybe like Philo Beto, you look every which way but loose. But you cannot find whatever it is that you are looking for. And sometimes when we're looking everywhere, the thing we're looking for is our mind, right? Because we lost it. We have some moments where we really lose our mind, right? I think it was designer Suzanne Sugarbaker that once said, "I don't think I've lost my mind completely. I think I just left it in the pocket of the jacket I was wearing yesterday." Sometimes it feels that way, doesn't it? Sometimes we feel like we're losing our mind because we're overwhelmed with life. There's so much happening on any given moment, and there's usually on those overwhelming moments, there's a decision that has to be made, right? Sometimes it's multiple decisions. And in that moment, we feel so overwhelmed, we are looking for wisdom, but we can't find it. No matter which way we look, we feel like we can't find the wisdom we need the most. But what if there was a way to have the kind of wisdom we need the most anywhere and everywhere at any given moment, any which way we turn? Whether we're high or low, whether we're confused or content, whether we're begrudged or bedazzled, whatever it is that we find ourselves in, what if we have this moment where there is actual, true, gracious, powerful, helpful, just a treasure chest of wisdom for us to lean on? What kind of wisdom are we talking about? Well, we continue our series this morning called The Main Attraction. And the main attraction this morning that we're going to focus on is the perfect, absolute wisdom that is available for every single moment. The moment when we are confused and lost and desperate, when we're high or low, when we feel like we are completely exhausted. A kind of wisdom that will not only build us up, but give us hope and confidence and trust. Real hope that we can lean on with all that we have. It sounds like some pretty good wisdom. What kind of wisdom is that? Well, our sermon title today is called All the Ways, and we're going to be looking in the New Testament of the Bible in the book of Romans, Apostle Paul's letter to the church at Rome, and we're going to look at Romans 11, verse 33, and this is what Paul writes. "Oh, the depth of the riches, both of the wisdom and knowledge of God!" Exclamation point. Oh, the depth. How deep is this depth? Is it deeper than a hole in the bottom of the sea? Yeah. There's a hole in the bottom of the sea. That's for anybody who watched Electric Company back in the 80s or 70s, whenever. I don't know how old I am. I do know that Tammy is in the classics, though. That was helpful information. Yeah, the depth here, by definition, means something that is stunning and amazing in such a way that it can't be measured. It can't be measured. It cannot be exhausted. It's always there. There's always plenty of it. And the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God is so profoundly awesome that it has no end and it has no beginning. It can't be measured. It cannot be exhausted. It is infinite. It is everywhere that we look, anywhere that we look. Anywhere we go, anywhere we run, anywhere we walk, anything we think, we can find the wisdom of God there. C.S. Lewis said this: we may ignore, but we can nowhere evade the presence of God. The world is crowded with him. He walks everywhere incognito. At least to us sometimes, and sometimes not incognito. In other words, there is no place we can go where we will not find God. And the same is true of his wisdom. There's no place we can go and not find the wisdom of God. God's wisdom is everywhere. High, low, east, west, the greatest height, the greatest depth. All the ways that we look, all the ways that we go, we will find the wisdom of God throughout history, all the time, past, present, and future. This is his wisdom. And that wisdom is designed to create hope. Not wishful thinking, but trust and confidence, assurance in something that is going to happen, something that is. Someone noted that most of the time the depth of a river can be measured, but not so with the ocean. The ocean is so vast, it is mysteriously impossible to really capture the depth of the ocean. Sure, somebody might, send some robot sub down and it might measure something, so maybe we can get some math, maybe. But when you consider how vast the ocean is, we'll never know the exact depth because it is too wide. It is too awesome. The wisdom of God is like that. More than 130 years ago, Charles Spurgeon said this: man is shallow, God is deep. Dive as we may, we shall never fathom the mysterious plan or exhaust the boundless wisdom of the all-comprehending mind of the Lord. And then he said this: we stand by the fathomless sea of divine wisdom and exclaim with holy awe, "Oh, the depth." That's what Paul's writing, right? Oh, the depth. Oh, the depth. Oh, the depth. Oh, the depth of the wisdom of God. Consider the wisdom of God. Consider how deep and wide and endless and inexhaustible it is. Can you imagine coming into my office one day and watching me work, and all of a sudden you go, gosh, oh, the depth of Dow's wisdom. I mean, the staff does that every day, but I mean, the reality is we don't have that. This wisdom, there's no pastor, there's no president, there's no politician, there's no parent, there's no grandparent, there's no general, there's no doctor, there's no diplomat. There is absolutely no one that has this wisdom. There is no one on this planet that we would walk over, stand and watch for a little bit, and then in holy awe exclaim loudly, "Oh, the depth of their wisdom." But see, God's not like us. There is no one like God. His wisdom is stunning and awesome. It cannot be measured. It cannot be exhausted. It is the most incredible wisdom anywhere. And that reality, all of those realities, are designed to create hope and confidence and trust in the life of a Christian. So, are you having hope and confidence and trust in the wisdom of God? Or are you struggling? I struggle. It's just natural. But boy, we should be pursuing this. If we're looking for real hope, real confidence, real trust with all of the chaos of life, we should look to the wisdom of God. Because everyone else's wisdom, all other wisdom, can be exhausted. It will be exhausted. But not the wisdom of God. There is no beginning and no end to his wisdom. It's infinite. It's everywhere. J.I. Packer defined wisdom like this: wisdom is the power to see and the inclination to choose the best and highest goal together with the surest means of attaining it. That's a good definition. I'm going to read it again. Wisdom is the power to see and the inclination to choose the best and highest goal together with the surest means of attaining it. Now look, there are moments that we have wisdom like that, all right? We have some moments every now and then in life, maybe once or twice in life, when we actually end up doing the best and the highest and the surest thing. We do that. But we don't do it every time, do we? No, sometimes we make a really bad choice when it comes to that 7th or 8th donut, you know? I mean, we don't always do the wise thing, but not God. God is perfectly wise. His wisdom may not make a lick of sense to us, but He is perfectly wise. His wisdom and His knowledge are perfect, and His wisdom is fueled by His knowledge. What does that mean? Think of it this way. How often have you seen a sign out on an open lot, and it's for a church or a restaurant or business or something, and the sign says, you know, future home of First Full Baptist Gospel Regenerative Redemptive Rescued Remnant Church, you know? Or, you know, it's a restaurant sign that says, you know, the future home of Big Head Joe's Burritos and Frozen Bananas, you know, something. But we've seen these signs, right? And then how often have those signs been there since we were in elementary school? I mean, I feel like every community has one like that. There's that one sign that's been there forever and ever and ever, like it never happened. Now look, there's all kind of reasons that something may not happen. But it is also very possible that for a sign to sit there that long, it may be that what was fueling putting that sign up was some really good, genuine, sweet, authentic, wishful thinking. But it was not real, true, helpful knowledge. God never put signs up like that. He never fails. His knowledge perfectly fuels His wisdom because His knowledge is perfect. His knowledge is infinite. It has no beginning. It has no end. It can't be measured. It can't be exhausted. His knowledge is based on His time, and He is outside of time. Our concept of time and God will never match up. He's outside of everything we know. So His knowledge of His glory, His knowledge of His power, His knowledge of His authority, His knowledge of His love, His knowledge of His grace, His knowledge of His mercy, all of it is perfect, and it fuels His wisdom. Therefore, His wisdom is perfect. His wisdom is the best. It's the highest. It's the surest, all the time, without end, everywhere. My wisdom is not. Your wisdom is not. The president's wisdom is not. The governor's wisdom is not. The Supreme Court's wisdom is not. There is no person. There is no philosophy. There is no wisdom on this earth that is perfect and will never end and never fail. At the very least, the best wisdom, the best decision making, the most excellent teachers here, their wisdom can be exhausted. And at the very least, it will be exhausted when they die. But not the wisdom of the Most High God. It does not end. And that really matters in this moment in Romans 11. What's happening in Romans 11? Why is Paul writing? Well, he's writing to try to encourage Christians that they should be stunned that they are Christians. They should be amazed that they are Christians. And he's given a bit of a history lesson here of the mercy and the grace and the wisdom of God. Eugene Peterson, in his paraphrased version of the Bible known as the Message, says it like this. I think it's helpful. This is verses 30 through 32 of his paraphrase. There was a time not so long ago when you were on the outs with God. But then the Jews slammed the door on him and things opened up for you. Now they are on the outs. But with the door held wide open for you, they have a way back in. In one way or another, God makes sure that we all experience what it means to be outside, so that he can personally open the door and welcome us back in. That's really good. What Paul's writing is this: the wisdom of God made sure that a door would be open so an arrogant punk kid from North Augusta, South Carolina could find Christ. He opened the door all those years ago so that Dow Welsh could be rescued and redeemed, receive salvation from Jesus Christ. And not just me, but also you. The door was open. The opportunity was there. Why? Because as the context says, Jesus came and his people said, "Get out. We don't want you. We're going to wait for the real thing." God still has the door open. The door is still open so that Gentiles in South Carolina and Muslims in the Middle East and Hindus in India, Buddhists in Asia, and especially Jews anywhere, can still come in. They can still find Christ. The door is open. That's the wisdom of God. Let me ask you a question. Does your wisdom work like that? Does my wisdom work like that? Are we prone to go to bed at night and leave the front door open, unlocked, or closed and locked? Are we prone to leave the door open and have people that we don't even like come in and live with us? Are we prone to say, we would love for someone that doesn't look like us, act like us, dress like us, drive like us, think like us, cheer for the same team as us, have the same skin color, background, or history as us, to join Holland Avenue Baptist Church? Or do we want people like us? If we're honest, we want people like us. I'm just confessing. It's how every human being on the planet thinks. We think of what we want. We think of what brings us comfort. The wisdom of God says, my door is open for the most that will never be taken away. That's the wisdom of God. Aren't we glad that wisdom can't be exhausted? Aren't we glad that the perfect wisdom of God never says, I'm not going to act on my love? He always does. And let me say this. Even when the door finally shuts, it will still be him acting on his love. He can do nothing else. Our wisdom is weak and shallow. The wisdom of God is strong and deep. One of the greatest leaders that's ever lived was giving some advice to his son. One of the wealthiest and wisest leaders that ever lived was giving some advice to his kids. And this is what he wrote, King Solomon, Proverbs 3:7. Do not be wise in your own eyes. And then a little later in the same book, Proverbs 26:12, he writes, do you see a person wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. What does that mean, to be wise in your own eyes? We could kind of put it in three categories: self-sufficient, self-conceit, and self-reliant. Let me reword those. I don't need anyone's help. I know what I'm doing. I know how to get things done. None of us think like that, right? But now here's the deal. In small doses, those things aren't bad, right? They aren't. It is how things get done sometimes. Here's the problem, though. Rarely do they come in small doses, right? We usually feed off of these things. Now, that doesn't mean if you have a gift or a skill or a talent that you're just supposed to throw it away and ignore it. Or if you have resources, you're not supposed to use it. That's not the picture. The picture of being wise in your own eyes just means don't act like what you can do or what you have is because of you. It's not. Do you have a gift or a skill or talent? Do you have a home, a car, a boat, a motorcycle, farmland? Do you have some money in the bank? That's all fine, but don't think that those exist because of you. They exist because of God. Are you breathing right now? It's not because you have good genes or a fantastic pulmonary doctor. You exist right now because of God. His grace and mercy created your existence, created the existence of all that exists. Therefore, anything we have is a direct reflection back to Him. I love Matlock, the old TV show with Andy Griffith as lawyer Ben Matlock. And there was one episode many years ago where the suspected bad guy pulled up in front of Matlock's house. And he was driving this, brand new convertible Mercedes. And he pulled up and he said, man, he goes, I'm surprised, Mr. Matlock, that the wealthiest lawyer in Atlanta lives in such a simple house. And he went on to look at Matlock and say this. He said, Mr. Matlock, I make a lot of money and I want people to know it. That's a dangerous way to live. It's not wrong to have money. It's not wrong to have wealth. If you have a lot of it, we would love for you to tithe to the church. Really, it's great. No problem there, So it's not wrong to have wealth. But that's a dangerous mentality. I have what I have, and I, out of pride, want to flaunt it. Not, I want to use it for the glory of God. I want people to know. That's a picture of being wise in your own eyes. It's a picture of self-sufficiency, self-conceit, self-reliance. On our own, that's how our wisdom works. Our wisdom works for self. And if that continues to play out, there's only one result. And the result is death for everyone, but then death and separation from God forever. Charles Spurgeon said this, self-sufficiency is Satan's net, wherein he catches men like poor, silly fish and does destroy them. I love this. God pours no power into man's heart till man's power is all poured out. In other words, we won't really understand the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God until we are empty of all of our supposed wisdom and knowledge. He goes on, do not set yourself up as if you were an independent gentleman, but live always trusting in God. You have as much need to trust Him now as ever you have. If you've been a Christian more than 30 years, you have as much reason right now to trust God as you ever have. There's never a moment where we should not be trusting in the wisdom of God. So, question, are you trusting in the wisdom and knowledge of God? Are you trusting in His wisdom that is infinite? Or are you kicking against it? Do you argue with God's wisdom? Do you say to God, well, I don't like that's how things worked out? Or are you trusting in His wisdom? Are you leaning on His wisdom, especially the wisdom by which He has opened the door to salvation in Jesus Christ? That wisdom is the best and the highest and the surest. That's the wisdom we need the most. And Jesus died on a cross one Friday outside of Jerusalem to not only purchase our ability to have that wisdom, to have access to that wisdom, but in rising from the dead 3 days later, he guaranteed that the hope and confidence and trust that is found in the eternal wisdom and knowledge of God could be ours anywhere and everywhere we look, anywhere and everywhere we are. All the wisdom of God, all the time, in all the ways, brings us perfect hope and trust and confidence in Him. But sometimes we wonder, well, how can hope come from the wisdom of God? How is it that God's wisdom creates hope in my life? Bless my mom's heart, she slipped again Friday night, so we are back in the hospital. And Friday night, the nighttime overnight doctor came in late that night on his shift, and he came over and he just started, asking Mom what happened, this, that, and the other. And somewhere in the conversation, he said, he goes, to be someone who has so much pain, you seem to have a pretty good spirit and a pretty good attitude. How are you able to do that? And my mom said, well, I grew up in a great home. I had great parents. I was married, had a good marriage for 67 years, got 4 good kids, and we all get along. And she just slightly, for some reason, looked back at me. And my face was clear. My head was cocked a little bit. I had kind of a smiley, smirking, confused look on my face. And as soon as my mom saw it, she smiled and immediately turned back to the doctor because she knew what my face meant. And quickly and immediately, she turned back to the doctor. And boldly and clearly, she said, I know the Lord. She knew I heard a crazy answer that most of us would say. In moments of pain and overwhelming, sometimes the last thing we do is shout the glory of God. I'm just being honest for all of us. But in that moment, what happened in our smiling, smirking exchange is my mom's heart again remembered, oh, the depth of the wisdom and the knowledge of God. There is nothing like it. And the wisdom and knowledge of God is not just there to help your attitude, it is there to help your eternity. The wisdom and knowledge of God is not just there to help us in pain in the hospital. It is there to rescue us for eternity. That death is not the end, it is the beginning, and that's why the wisdom of God never begins and never ends. It is infinite, and we will be infinite with Him. That's Christianity. No matter what you hear in the news or the History Channel, no matter what an atheist or agnostic wants to argue with you about, that is Christianity. Oh, the depth. Oh, the depth. Oh, the depth of the wisdom and the knowledge of a God that would open the door and keep the door open out of His mercy so that many would come. Simple question. Are you on the out? Or have you received the invitation and you have received the salvation that was created from the perfect knowledge and wisdom of God before the foundations of the earth, that Jesus would be there for you to save you and satisfy you forever? Oh, the depth of the wisdom and knowledge of God that would make sure we had an opportunity to come to Jesus. Oh, the depth. Oh, the depth. Oh, the depth.